How's everybody doing? All right. Okay, what are we doing here today, Josh?
All right. Well, welcome
Let's
everybody.
talk about the playoffs.
You wanna? Now, well, this is a treat I'm a Minnesota boy, so I'm here in Toronto talking to two Leafs legends, and I'm in seventh heaven here. This is kind of amazing.
Aren't you, you must be quite excited because Minnesota's doing better than most people expected them to do.
Yeah, well, we got our 97 back, Kirill Kaprizov. He came back, and the whole team dynamic changes after that.
Yeah, well, good luck. Cause I bet, I picked that my dark horse was Minnesota.
Oh, really?
$100 in Tucson at the casino. I bet $100 on them. $1,250 if they win.
Well, welcome everybody to the Spring Expo. My name is Josh from the Hockey Cards Gongshow Podcast. Honored and thrilled to be joined by Darryl Sittler and Dave Tiger Williams. Now, the first question I have for you guys is I like to think back maybe to your playing careers, and would you have thought, you know, this many years later, that the interest in the game, the interest in collecting, and the fan engagement would have been like it is today, where you see literally thousands of people here coming to celebrate and enjoy the game?
Well, first of all, yeah, things have changed a lot. Obviously, with the internet, everything can go worldwide quite quickly. When I started out in 1970, there were only 12 teams, 14 teams in the league, so it changed. It's grown a lot. It's growing in the States a lot. There's been a number of international tournaments over the years, so that creates a lot of interest, a lot of European players and American players that have grown the game, and that's why there's so much interest. And I think that a thing that's a little different than when I played, when we wore our jerseys, as to speak, we probably wore those jerseys most of the season, maybe half a year, and then switched another one. Well, now guys, they switch them every period, I think, you know, because of the memorabilia interest in those sorts of things. So I've been fortunate over my career to save a few things, game-worn jerseys and some other things that were kind of cool. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with them at some point in time, but it's nice to know that there's fans out there that love that stuff and are interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys remember seeing your hockey card for the first time, and, you know, what it was like to actually, you know, I don't know if it like maybe felt like that, okay, now I'm in the NHL and here's a representation of me being part of this league?
Well, I was lucky when I was a kid. I had a lot of hockey cards. I always found some skinny little bastard and I'd steal his twos. But I was at a bull sale in Whitewood, Saskatchewan, and Bobby Hall was there, and he brought Pierre Plante with him. And I must have had 500 cards of both of those guys, and I made them all sign them. I stood over top of them, and they were not happy about it.
Amazing.
But I like, the first time I ever met John Beliveau, I was playing for the Leafs. We were in Montreal, and I thought I might run into him at the morning skate or something, and I did, and I had my cards on my sleeve, and I handed it to him, and I says, "Can you sign these and bring them back?" And I didn't want these guys to see me getting Belivaux's autograph. But hockey cards, my son, obviously around the dressing rooms all the time when I played, he doesn't have thousands of hockey cards signed. He's got probably 5,000 or 6,000. It's unbelievable.
That's a great. How about you, Darryl? Did you collect hockey cards growing up?
I didn't collect hockey cards growing up, but I'll tell you a kind of a cute story that happened. So my dad was a crane operator, paycheck to paycheck. We couldn't afford to go to a Leaf game.
Okay.
So Kitchener was my hometown. There was an exhibition game. Chicago Blackhawks were playing the Rangers on a September night. My brother and I went with my dad. I was probably 7, 8 years old. And after the game, I was standing outside the arena with a pencil and a piece of paper hoping to get an autograph. And all these players walked by me on the Rangers and the Blackhawks, and I was very disappointed. And then finally, two guys stopped. The captain of the Rangers, Andy Bathgate, and Bobby Hull. And I'll always remember that moment forever. You know, first impressions are lasting. Good, bad, or indifferent. Well, that first impression that Bobby Hull and Andy Bathgate gave me stuck with me. So now when I'm out there, become the captain of the Leafs or whatever, some kid or somebody comes up and wants something, I'll always remember what that meant to me at that time and never forgot it. So I don't save a lot of things. I do now because my grandkids like it, and my own kids, my son Ryan's got a few cool things over the years, and it's nice to have those collections.
Do you guys have a favorite piece of memorabilia that you have from either yourself or one of your contemporaries from your career?
There you go, my
There
billboard.
you go.
He's my billboard. What do you got, Tiger?
I got my 10-point Sittler shirt on.
And
There you
your
go.
hat.
Yeah, and my hat. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I don't know why I'm wearing this 10-point thing, because they forgot to put one thing in the detail. Because in that game, what was the score?
You remember the score of my 10-point game? 11-4.
Yeah.
Okay, I was in that game, obviously. I was -2. How the hell do you score 11 goals for and only 4 against and you're -2? They should have a hockey card about that.
They should. We'll talk to Upper Deck about getting that done.
It's good to see the bald guys in the front row. Good for you guys. Yeah. You got to move up, sir.
So to answer your question, you asked me if I have a few pieces of memorabilia. The Canada Cup goal was a big goal for me. I was fortunate to keep the stick and the gloves and the jersey. I have that. I got it from Czechoslovakia. After the game, we had switched jerseys.
Yeah.
And Bozilev was the player for the Czechs that had my jersey. And after 40 years, we did an exchange. I had his jersey here, so that's a cool item to have. The night, and it's probably not a very popular night, Tiger was there when I took the C off my jersey. Mm-hmm. The trainer at the end of the season gave me that jersey, so I have that jersey, which is kind of cool. Everybody'd like to have that one, but you know, some other good memories. I don't know, Tiger, Hall of Fame stuff, banners, all that shit, right? You don't know anything about that, right?
No, I don't know anything about that. That's a different league. I didn't play in that league.
Well, okay, so here's...
I got one sweater, though.
You do?
Yeah, only one. It's the only one that didn't have my own blood on it. That's the only one I say.
All right. Now, I like to ask this when I get the opportunity to talk to former players like yourself. When you look at the game today and how much the equipment has advanced, from the sticks to how light the skates are, if there's one piece of modern hockey equipment that you would have loved to have in your playing career, what would that be?
Well, I mean, everything's changed so much. I mean, the sticks are so much lighter. My stick was a real heavy stick, but still could shoot the puck with it. I think it's kind of all what you get used to over the years.
Sure.
I mean, I look at the goalie pads. I look at the size of the goalies now, how big they are, how much net they cover, and then the equipment they wear. Their pads are so thin. They're, you know, they spread it out. Probably a lot tougher to score now than it was back then because of the size of the goalies. The nets are still the same size.
I think the biggest difference is the hockey sticks. I mean, in today's game, the sticks you can use, you can fine-tune exactly the curve, the flex, and all that. In the old days, you couldn't deal with the flex or the curves too much. And the way the puck comes off those sticks is like a golf ball. The poor goalies don't have a chance to react. And if it goes up in the top corner and there from here to with the Leaf shirt on here, boom. You know, they just got to kind of get, and it's usually in the net before they even get their arm up. So the goalies are great. The other thing that's so much better is the ice. If you went to Madison Square Gardens in the 70s, you skated on half concrete and half ice.
Really?
And the ice was all snowy and bullshit, and so the guys with good shots, they couldn't shoot the puck as good. Where now the ice is so good. It's so consistent amongst all the 30-some teams, 32 teams. So that's really, really helped the shots. And now with the skates, you can change your blades every period. It's good stuff. And it's the way it should be. I mean, it took a little bit of time, but the equipment is it matches the quality of the player now. Where back in our day, we were way better than the equipment that we had. And, you know, and Johnny Bauer used to come out and practice in '74, my first year, with his original pads on. And, I mean, they weren't 12 inches wide. I mean, these little rinky-dink things, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. But everything should improve. Everything that we do in life should improve every day.
Okay, my last question, and it's kind of a selfish question because, you know, being from Minnesota and being from the United States, and I know we have like
Why
a
do
lot
you
of
keep reminding us that you're from Minnesota?
because it's
We
a state
don't
of hockey.
forget.
It's a state of hockey. Help people understand what it's like to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs that maybe are not, you know, from here.
Well, growing up in Ontario, obviously we watch the Leafs play all the time. Tiger out in Saskatchewan. Leafs have an unbelievable tradition. I was fortunate when I was drafted in '70. A lot of those players that were on the '72. There you go.
Shut up. No whiners. Go home, whiners.
Daniel, you here?
There you go. So to finish my answer, so in '70 there were a number of players that I played with, like Dave Keon, Ron Ellis, Bobby Bond, that had won Stanley Cup. So I realized and understood what it meant to win a Stanley Cup, but being a part of it, George Armstrong was the captain, and learned from them the respect they had for the team, the logo, the tradition, what the responsibilities were off the ice. So. And when you're a Leaf player and you're in Canada, you're a household name quite quickly, and there's a lot of expectations, there's a lot of pressure, but I wouldn't want to play in any other place.
What about you, Tiger?
Well, I mean, when I come here, it'll be 51 years ago in May that I signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it seems like yesterday, but that, you know. The thing I liked about Toronto is the fans.
Yeah. Yeah. Passion.
The
right?
fans. And the other thing that most people, Mr. Ballard, I love Mr. Ballard. I love that man.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple when you played for the Leafs and you had that crest. And probably all teams are the same, but, you know, the older guys, the Johnny Bowers, the Red Kellys, the Eddie Shacks, the Keons, they taught us younger guys that crest is so important. That are you willing to die for that crest? And he was, I was, and that's what's so special about playing in Toronto, is that crest means a lot. And it does to this day to us. And I played on 4 other teams. And every game, I respected that crest, and I was willing to die for that crest. But for some reason, when you start out, in both our cases here in Toronto, your first team, you just have a little bit more passion and everything for that first team. And I got to play it here long enough to get that feeling. But we were lucky that we got to play with the guys that won that cup in '67, because that's the closest friggin' thing we've ever got to it. So having Ronnie Ellis and Keon and Eddie Shack and the guys around us. Red Kelly was my first coach. Probably the nicest man I ever met in my life.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things I remember. Now, you know, just change the subject. Like when my last year I played in Hartford, that was the worst team I ever played for. It was the worst team in the world. Never mind in NHL. The owner was a piece of shit. The coaches were stupider than stones. It was unbelievable. And they had a great team.
Yeah.
They had great young guys. They should have been a first-place hockey team. But you cannot win without smart management and smart coaches. We were always lucky in Toronto. We had good coaches until Imlach showed up towards the end, and him and I were out of there then. But, I mean, you cannot win without smart coaches. You know, coaches will get a lot out of players. Roger Nielsen, smart coach.
Okay.
Red Kelly, smart coach. You cannot win without a good coach.
So I'm going to finish off here. This is a true story, eh? So Tiger comes to Toronto. He's our first-round pick, right? So I'd been in the league 4 or 5 years. And right away you think Tiger Williams, Saskatchewan, whatever, 600 minutes and penalties, right? Very first day of training camp. What happens is I was the type of guy, I wanted to be the first guy out on the ice, right? So I get all dressed. I'm ready to go. The ice is right in front of me. I look behind me, and there's this rookie, Tiger, right behind me. So he lets me go out, and I skate, and I start skating around a little bit. And I look over, and Tiger's standing at the bench, and he's looking around. And I know what's going through his head. Toronto Maple Leafs, first time on Maple Leaf Gardens ice. His dad was a Leaf fan, and how proud he was, right? So I'm watching this, and I'm kind of, you know, in awe of what Tiger is like and his emotions. And all of a sudden, he gets on the ice, and he skates as hard as he can over the boards, and he friggin' whacks the boards, and he falls down on his friggin' knees, right? He gets up, and he skates, and he hits the other boards. I'm like, holy shit, you know, what do we got coming here, right? So they have the training camp scrimmage. They drop the puck. First thing he does, doesn't even look for the puck. He kicks the shit out of Ian Turnbull, who happened to be the closest guy to him. So that was his welcome into the National Hockey League. But this is the guy you want on your side. Eh? You don't want him against you. You want him on his side. But great friends. We've been around for a long time. We're happy to be back here in Toronto. We love doing these sort of things. I got to babysit him the next week at my house. So if anybody want to spell me off, just let me know. There you go.
All right,
that?
thank you.
How's that? Thank you guys. Thank
Thank
you
you,
guys for
Josh.
being
Thanks
great
to
ambassadors
everybody.
of our game. How about it for Darryl Sittler and Tiger Williams,
Thank
guys?
you. Enjoy the show.